All right. Okay, guys. So what's this? Microphone appears to be noisy. How does my sound?
Good.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
Hear
too
you really.
crazy?
Nah.
no, you're
All right.
clear.
Okay, I just got a little message saying that my microphone appears to be noisy, but the program didn't realize that's just my voice. I can't help it, Jitsi. I can't help it. It's just me. I've got a noisy voice. The thing that escapes my mouth just happens to be noisy. Oh, shit. Dear, oh dear. I tell you what, that might be a good idea. I might, because I'm recording this, I might actually put headphones on. That might give a better signal. I might be creating a bit of a feedback loop here. Just hang on a second, guys. I'll put those in there like that. I'll put these babies in here like that. All right. Hey, you got me?
Yep.
All right. Nice. There we go. Okay, so how's your week been? Did everyone do their practice?
The standing is getting better.
Oh yeah, good. Good.
By that I mean more painful.
I don't think it ever stops, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
so it's a good sign.
sorry, man. You just cut out then for a sec. What was that?
It seems like a good sign when it gets more painful. You know,
Definitely.
it feels
Yeah.
like it's more.
Yeah. Certainly. Um, but don't go looking for the pain at the same time. So even though it does get more painful, you don't go looking for it, or don't go trying to make it more painful. Yeah, that's a mistake.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you
that's good to know.
just yeah, and you'll find even though it is more intense, you don't classify it so much as pain anymore. It's just that thing that happens when you do standing. Yeah,
Like a process. Yeah,
it really is, man. It really is, and then it ramps up, and then it peters off, and then it ramps up, and then it's not actually petering off. It's just how you can take it, like your ability to deal with it increases. So yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? I find it fascinating, all of it, because I
yeah,
like,
definitely.
oh man, like personally, I think I've got a bit of ADHD or something. Someone told me that it's my star sign, but I don't know. Probably is. But easy to start things, hard to finish. Yeah, that's me. And so I'm
Mm,
always, in a work scenario, I'm always the guy that starts the projects or whatever. That's my job, and I put the energy into it. But someone else has got to finish that stuff off, right? Because that ain't me. But that was
yeah,
before I came across this stuff, and it's been so compelling and intriguing that it's kept my interest for 17 years, and that's astounding.
yeah. I know. I'm noticing it's actually more enjoyable the
Yep.
more I do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and more space you find. It's,
Isn't that the most amazing thing? Like you find all of this geography or real estate that you just weren't aware of. It's even though you've had this body for decades, or however long you've had it. What the hell? You didn't even know that was there. It's crazy. It's weird. It's very strange.
yeah,
Yeah. But it also, I've said this before, um, but it makes me look at the future in a probably a different way to most people. There's certainly not an element of fear that's involved in the future when I think about that. It's like an excitement almost, about the future. Yeah. And also, because every time I see you guys as well, that's the other cool thing about this stuff is that I come around and I might not see you for a little while. And then when I do see you, it's almost like, when like when you got your own kids and you don't notice them growing up or whatever, but then you see your nieces or your nephews and it's just so obvious, it's similar to that. Like everyone's making such big movements, and it's really cool to see. It's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So it means that people are doing the work, which is nice. Yeah. So speaking of that, how did your work go this week? Did you do your homework? No.
Is this a continuation from last week?
Well, no. I mean, the homework was to continue doing the meditation that we did last week. I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
This is my first time
So bad.
with you.
So bad. Unbelievable. Some people, eh? So Yummy's saying, lovely skin breath, release, even off the mat. Excellent. Okay, so what we were doing last week was breath meditation. And if I remember correctly, I was actually waiting for someone to talk about what the homework was to remind me of what we did last week because I couldn't actually remember. But okay, so whoops. There's been so much meditation, it's hard to keep a track of all this. Bogdan is saying metta every time, I remember. And that's true. I mean, a lot of what you hear myself or Sifu, Adam, saying, we repeat ourselves often. And because it always comes back to the same idea, right? The same practice, really. And that's what makes it so good and powerful because you can just direct all your energy to that. So it's cool. So last week we did this breath meditation and it was just staying with the skin and not going into the skin, not going into the flesh, just staying on the surface of the skin. So you've got this nice broad awareness, and hopefully it taught you some things about your relationship with your breath and also your body and your skin, and so certainly myself, like I found myself fighting. It was like an argument, a continual argument that I was having with my own breath and my own skin, which is kind of weird. And so it was just this process of releasing around this function, that we all have, and just allowing it to be beautiful, and not painful, or just letting the discomfort dissolve, So that's why the breath is so good, because we're just doing it all the time, and we're able to use that to get some goodness. Alrighty. All right, guys. So any thoughts or questions? You can use these meditations. We've got one more left after this week. So you can use these meditations to ask me anything you like. Okay. Well, almost anything. I don't want to open up too much, but
And I would like to look a bit at the knowing at Buddho.
Okay.
And how does it differentiate between awareness and knowing, how to discern these two?
Yeah, that's a good one. Knowing and awareness. So the term Buddho is used in Thailand a lot. Actually, it's I got it engraved into my arm. There it is. That says Buddho there, right? Now, how do you do that? Back to front. I've got to look at it here. So this is Buddho in Thai. And what that means is knowing. It's the knowing quality. Okay. Now there's awareness And most of us, all of us, hopefully have awareness, but most of us don't have Buddho, or this knowing quality. And so it's this, that's why we practice, so looking at the skin, for instance, okay, we start to understand our relationship with the skin, and the breath. And we start to realize that, oh my God, the reason that it feels so uncomfortable is because of this contraction. Yeah, it's this fight that's going on. So if you think about, and this is what I was talking about last week, I want you guys to, you have to have a contemplation in your practice. Like if you just wake up every day and you just do your practice, you'll never get anywhere with it. It'll just be this dry. It's dry. There's just no juice. Yeah, there's no goodness in there. And you will get benefit out of it. That's a lie. But if you throw that contemplation in there as to why you're doing the practice, what is making you feel shitty from moment to moment, day by day, year by year, etc., and allow yourself to penetrate that. And I'm not talking about, if you've been to one of my workshops, we always go through this 0 to 10, this idea, right? And so 0, this is no contraction. Yeah, so you've basically penetrated. You've seen the cause of fear and all the things that we don't like. Depression, anxiety, fear, jealousy, all that stuff, right? And what you've been able to do is you've been able to, instead of trying to get rid of the fear or trying to get rid of the jealousy, you've realized that that is just a label that you put on the contraction. Right now, the contraction, we've got 0 and then we've got 1. 0 is release, 1 is the contraction. Now, what happens is that we never get back to this. We never get to 1. We always sort of stop at 2 or 3 at these labels, right? So we stop at anger. I've got to get rid of anger. And so we go in and we read 1,000 books and we try to get rid of anger, right? But then what happens is it's like a weed, in the garden. The contraction just sprouts up and is expressed in another way somewhere else. It comes up as, anxiety. And then we deal with the anxiety and we get rid of that. We read 1,000,000 books and then it comes up as sadness, right? Or whatever, This is what happens. And so as humans, we have this terrible tendency of being really shitty at mathematics. And so we need to be able to subtract all the way back to 0 instead of staying at 2 or 3. A lot of people don't even get to that. They're just, they're out at 5 or 6 or way over there somewhere. And so this contemplation, by looking at this stuff, and by doing, say, the breath meditation or the metta meditation or, any of these meditations, by combining that and allowing your contemplation to influence your meditation, you are pointing yourself in the direction of Buddho. You're pointing yourself in the direction of the knowing quality, right? And then the knowing quality of Buddho, it takes time to develop. It might take a lifetime. It might take 10 lifetimes. I don't know. And we're all different. And I see this so often. We've all seen it 1,000,000 times. Like with the little kid playing Beethoven. He's 4 or 5 years old, being able to play Beethoven. Like what the hell is that? And it's the same with the practice as well. Like some people they're just onto it really quickly, and other people, like myself, it takes, just bash my head against the wall for 20 years until, finally something clicks. And that's my method. So look at this face. It's from that. Jesus. Hey. So yeah, that's it. And so the knowing quality, or this Buddho, is then it is penetrating and seeing the cause of your suffering. And suffering is a strong word, so you can say penetrating the cause of your discomfort. Any form of discomfort, even subtle discomfort like boredom or frustration, or just a little bit melancholy or whatever it is, right? Penetrate the cause of that, and there's freedom. That's what freedom is. If you can penetrate that, see through it, and when I say penetrate it, I mean you zoom in and you see, you try to find the center of that thing, of that feeling or that thought or that mind state or whatever. And if you keep on looking, you'll see the truth. And this is what Buddho is, right? Yes. So that's what that is. Kind of clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, like awareness is, everyone's got awareness, hopefully, but then there's different levels of awareness as well, of course, like you see like a professional athlete and their awareness is uncanny, or, someone who's really good at business or, whatever field they're excelling in, and their ability to read between the lines and all that sort of stuff. And, they're like Jedis, but it's different. It's different. You can be the most accomplished person in the world, but have absolutely no Buddho, no knowing quality in the regard that we're talking about here. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So it's about freedom, guys. That's it. So if you have to, if you can make all of your meditations and all of your practice pointing in the same direction, that's the key. If you can do that, then everything you do is good. Even if you're not great at it, at least you're looking in the right direction, So it's good stuff. Like I've got a bit of a cold today. I've had it for the last 2 days. So, yes, they still call it the cold. And so I've got a bit of a cold. And but it's an interesting thing. How I got this cold is very interesting. Very interesting. So check it out, right? I had this little itch in my nose, and this happened about 2 or 3 nights ago, and I went like this, right? It's just an itch. And then I did it again, right? And I did it again. And I thought to myself, I've got to stop doing that because I'm going to irritate my nose and something is going to come out of this if I continue to do this. Stupidly enough, I continued to do it, right? And this is what This is what we fucking do. This is what we all do. It was like a microcosm of this human condition. It was like I knew what I was doing, and I still did it. That's so dumb. That is so stupid. And then I woke up the next morning with a cold. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, how we do that? So that's exactly what we do. So we do these stupid things. We know they're stupid. We know it's leading in the wrong direction. And then and then we play the victim, right? So no more victims. Yeah. It's easy to be the victim, but try not to be the victim. Try to be the hero in your own life. Yeah. The heroic warrior. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yep. All right. Try to be that. Try to be the hero. Try to be that heroic figure in your own life. Yeah. And what that means in this case is to wake up every day and practice. If you don't practice, you've got no chance. Unless you're you're one of those Beethoven kids, and they come around every now and then, and they're just, they're like little Buddhas, and they're just amazing immediately, and they can see the cause of suffering immediately, and they're already there. But for the rest of us, it ain't so. We've got some work to do. So make sure you do your work, guys. Make sure you do it. Otherwise, you'll miss this opportunity, and not only will you'll miss the opportunity at being able to enjoy your life more, so don't sort of look at it as like, oh, well, it'll be good like when I die because then I'll go to heaven, right? Think of it more like, I'll do it now because I can experience heaven now. I think that's a better way to look at it, So let's try and experience some heaven now, shall we? Let's try and do that. What do you say? Oh, all right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna sit. Man, sore back. I've been sitting a lot lately, and I've been putting in some big days on the mat, 4 or 5 hours on the mat, and an hour or two doing other stuff. So I'm starting to feel it now. All right. So before we start, are there any other questions or thoughts, guys? Shoot them through now, or forever hold your peace. Everyone good? All righty. Okay. I'm turning off the comment section. Okay. So let's develop some of this heaven right now. And so if you try and let go of the idea of heaven as a place or a state, it's like this idea of the Tao or Nibbana or heaven as a place or a state. Try to let go of that concept and approach this whole thing as a process, right? And so the process is, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but it's cyclical, right? So the first thing we have to do, so let's try this now. Let's contemplate. The first thing you have to contemplate. And this is where wisdom is born, through this contemplation. Yeah. And so we need to just stop for a minute. So let's stop. And I just want you to analyze how you felt today, and if there has been any negative mind state or emotion in your day today. You might have had a stellar day today, so you might need to cast your mind back to yesterday or the day before, perhaps. So however far you've got to go back, I want you to find yourself at a time when you felt shitty. Even just a little bit shitty. Doesn't have to be too dramatic. Okay, so I want you to isolate the emotion. Or the thought, the mind state. Isolate that. And I want you to feel how I want you to analyze it yourself. I'm not going to tell you if it's contracting or opening, but it's doing one of those two things. So I want you to analyze that negative mind state. And if it's closing, right, that's interesting, okay? And then you can spread your awareness to another time. Let's bring up another time. And you'll find that, well, what do you find? You tell me, what do you find? Is it contracting? And you'll find that as you look at every time that you've been upset or even bored, like a really subtle emotion, but every time that you've been feeling a bit shitty, it has the same taste, it has the same feeling. And the feeling is kind of like this. You know, it's like there's a vice or something, or like two hands just sort of pressing in on you, on your, not your head so much, but in your mind. There's a pressure on your mind. There's a holding, right? And so what we've got to do, once we start to realize this, is we then need to view every emotion or negative mind state in the same way. Now, when you start to do this, this is really powerful, because instead of running around like a lunatic and trying to find all these half answers to these half questions, nothing's fully baked. You know, it's all half step. Everything's half stepped. But when you start to apply your mathematical skill and your wisdom, what you find is you start to find that it's all one. It's all one. All of these negative emotions and mind states are all one. It's all contraction. And then we label it. It goes to 2 and 3 and 4, etc. So once it's one, now we need to sort out how to penetrate one and get to 0. And what you have to do is this. You have to soften. You have to soften your eyes. You have to soften your shoulders. You have to soften your ears. Any part of your body that you can, I want you to soften it. Now, what the softening does, softening is making space. That's what it is. So when you soften something, like think about a stain on fabric. Yeah. Put some water in there, or one of those oxidizing creams or whatever, and the oxidizing cream or the water, it breaks it up. It gives it space, and then you apply some more water and it just washes out, right? And you think about a knot. If you have a knot, this is going to be hard with the headphones on. Okay. Okay, I don't even need those on now because you guys aren't talking to me. Oh, that's so much better. God, that was weird. All right. So we've got a knot, right? Yeah. And if we keep on pulling on the knot using force, we're never going to undo it. It doesn't matter. If there's still always force there pulling on both ends, we're never going to find an answer. So what we have to do is we have to sort of play with the knot. Play with it, play with it, play with it, play with it. And we're sort of looking for a hole. We're looking for a hole, some space. And then when we find that space, there it is. Now we're good to go. And we just sort of jiggle it a little bit more. And then what do you know? There it goes. Yep. And then we find that release. And so what we've got to do is we've got to find that in the mind. Yeah. Because that's where it's all happening. So how we do that is we soften the eyes. We actually have to do it. Because if you think about softness, it doesn't work. It's just more thoughts. It's we're holding on to more things. So if you think about the Tao or the Buddha or something like that, and I want to be like this, you're just holding on to it, and it's just another form of contraction. So we've got to bypass this. And so by feeling things, we're not thinking. When you feel something, like a feeling as in a tactile sensation, not like an emotion, but when you feel the tactile touch, there's no thought involved. It's just happening. Something is making an impression on your senses, on your sense gate. So we can just make that happen. We soften. Soften your eyes, find some space. And then you start to work out, just to have a look at your body. Like, where are you holding on? Like, where are you doing this? And so we can start to use the body to help us here. And so as I breathe, I'm noticing, I've got some tension here perhaps. Yep, here maybe. And so as I breathe, I'm just allowing this spaciousness to come into the shoulders and the neck or wherever. And I'm finding a little bit of space there. And then as I breathe out, I go, and it's just, I release with the intention of release. Releasing. As I breathe in, the intention is to soften, find spaciousness. As I breathe out, release, right? So this is how we get going. So just do that for a little while. So we're pointing our awareness in the direction of Buddho. We're starting to, just like any skill, this is the 1 times table, maybe the 2 times table, right? You start with the easy stuff and then you get good at that and you move on. Yeah. So we're starting with the easy stuff. So we're using the body to work out, okay, well, I'm doing this. What's the opposite of this? All right, it's this. Oh, spaciousness feels good. Oh, nice. Right? And so we're practicing. This is the practice. And so you can do this, but what happens is, especially if you're a really wordy person, your mind will just run off with the thought train again. It just runs off, it runs off on this train of thought, jumps on the train again, right? And this train is never ending. It's like that, what was that show called? Snowpiercer. That's exactly what our minds are like, right? I only watched the first season, so I don't know if it actually ever stops. But anyway, yeah, that's what our minds are like. So we can use a word or a phrase to help us to point in the right direction, to point the awareness in the right direction. So this particular word, that's why I wrote it here. It's like doing an exam at school. You write the answers on your arm. Yeah, that's what all these are for, right? So what I do is, if I'm thinking a lot, because thoughts are two things. They're visions and they're words. That's what thoughts are, right? So what I'm going to start doing is, as I breathe in, I'm going to say one syllable of this word, the 2-syllable word. So the first syllable is Bud, so B-U-D or T. It's a Thai word, so Bud. As I breathe in. And then as I breathe out, Do. Spelled D-D-H-O. As I breathe in, Bud. As I breathe out, Do. Bud. Do. The word means knowing. What are we knowing? We're knowing that contraction sucks. Spaciousness is comfortable. We know that we spend our whole life looking for comfort. That's why we do everything in our life. It's why you scratch your face. It's why you buy a particular type of shoe. It's why you eat a particular type of food. Every single thing, everything you do. Even when you wriggle in bed at night, it's to find comfort. So your whole life, every single thing you've done in your entire life is to find comfort. Every thought that you've had is to try and find comfort. Comfort through working something out. Yeah, comfort in knowledge, right? That's why we do everything. And so as I breathe in, Bud, I'm realizing that I can find comfort right now, right here, right now. This is golden. As I breathe out, I'm finding release. Right here, right now. I'm breathing with a very broad awareness. It doesn't have to be across the whole body. You know, like when I say the whole body, like every single part of the body, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be like a broad awareness with sort of hot spots, you know, wherever your mind-body connection is. It's going to be different for all of us. But the more broad, the better. So in the beginning, it might just be your face and your hands. They're the 2 hot spots for most people as far as hand or mind-body connection goes. The more you do Tai Chi and stuff, of course, the more that spreads. And so you just want a nice broad awareness as you breathe in, Bud. If you feel any contraction or discomfort, you're finding space there. So softening your intention as you do this. So if I do it like this, right? If I breathe in like this, like with this sort of intensity in this respiratory system and also my mind, because, you know, if I'm tense in my respiratory system, there's a reason for that. It's because my mind is tense as well, right? So I need to find a softness in there, here, right? So how do you do that? How do you find that softness? Okay? You have to create it. You have to, when I say create it, you just have to, you're always fine tuning these senses. So as I breathe in, I make the in-breath as delightful as I can. I soften my mind, my awareness. It's like I'm picking up a little baby duck, right? Like the cutest thing in the world, whatever it is, right? Whatever your, thing is, the cutest thing, okay? A little kitten, right? And you don't want it to run away. You want to pat its little head, okay? So you want it to stay here. And so how do you have to be to do that? You have to do this. You have to go and melt. Sometimes it just happens, you don't even have to try to melt, of course. Like you just see, you see your nephew, for the first time, or whatever it is, you see your daughter or your son for the first time, or whatever, and you melt, right? So whatever can get you to that state, it could be the idea of chocolate, eating chocolate. Do that. Breathe in chocolate. Wood. And then as you breathe out, do. And really get this idea of just like physically, I don't want you to like drop your whole body, but I want there to be like there's a physical release that comes through your whole body. Remember, we're using the body as our laboratory. Yeah. And so as I breathe in, Bud, and as I exhale, Do. And you'll find that, of course, there are no thoughts because your mind is occupied with this Bud, Do, right? So it's a trick. It tricked our mind because the mind is tricky in itself. So as you breathe in, Bud, make it beautiful. Make that Bud beautiful. Knowing, you're breathing in, knowing. And then you're breathing out, knowing. So just keep doing that for a while, guys. Do that for another few minutes. And you don't have to look too hard. Discomfort will pop up. It'll be there. So you don't go looking for it. You don't have to look for it, it's there. Now, the other crucial part of this is enjoyment. So you have to, this is imperative, you have to enjoy this. So what I mean by that is, ready? This is it. This is the process. Ready? As I breathe in, I'm just going to sort of act it out a little bit, right? As I breathe in. Sparkles, right? As I'm breathing in, I'm realizing that this is beautiful, that this is better than doing the opposite. This is a better way of being. This is leading me to what I actually want, right? As I breathe out, same deal, right? So really learn how to enjoy this. Because if you ask yourself honestly, what do I want? I guarantee you, if you ask honestly and answer honestly, it's only ever one thing. There's no deviation. It doesn't matter if you're big or small or black or white or male or female, or it doesn't matter at all what you are. It's the same for all of us, right? Doesn't matter. And so as you breathe in, part of this Buddho is knowing that you've found, maybe not found the answer, but you're looking in the right direction. I mean, yeah, you have found part of the answer. Yeah, you have. If you're breathing in with this intention, you have found the path. This is the path. You still have to traverse it some ways, but this is the path. This is the answer. That's what a path is. Yeah. And then as you exhale, this understanding that you're on this path, you found it. This is it. This is the direction. And it's just like you're looking for a treasure, right? You're on the path. You've got the map. Wow, we're doing this. It's that. It's that. As you breathe in, there has to be this appreciation, this joy. And not intellectual either. Like, as you breathe in and you find space, I want you to pay attention to your mind state and notice that it does this. It goes from here to here. Just a little bit, right? It opens up. Just a little bit. Try it. You have to be softening though. If you're trying too hard, it won't happen. You have to soften your eyes, soften your heart, soften your butt. And you should find that this happens. There it is. That's the answer. Wow. Of course, you keep doing this and you get better and better at it. You get deeper and deeper. After a while, Buddho stops. And there is this knowing. And of course, that knowing will fade away or whatever, that's fine. And then get back to the practice. Buddho. Buddho. And if you forget what it is, tattoo it on your arm. No, don't tattoo it on your arm. If there's something worse than, like I don't know if this is true, but, certainly in the movies, they always sort of point to this, but, like coming to a party and someone's wearing the same dress as you are or whatever, it's like a fate worse than death, Yeah. I think tattoos are taking it one step further. I've seen it once in Chiang Mai. A waiter came in with one of my tattoos. It was cute. If you're going to get a tattoo, I recommend that you don't. But if you are going to get one, make sure you know why you're getting it. Yeah. And make sure it's ultimate truth, because your idea of things will change, especially if you're looking in the right direction. If you're looking in the right direction, your understanding of things changes very drastically. And so that's basically, that's the meditation, guys. I'm going to put these back on so I can hear you in case you've got any questions. But that's basically it, and you would have come across a bit of a theme when you do a meditation with me, is that I don't shut up. I just continue to talk through the whole bloody thing. And so the idea is that, I don't want you to go somewhere. That sort of meditation that's for you in the morning when you're by yourself and you can get deep. But all of the meditations that we do to get deep they're all dealing with release, to one degree or another. They're all pointed in the same direction. So even the breath meditation, but you do the breath meditation in the morning by yourself, and your mind will go it becomes very still. And then once it becomes very still, then whichever direction you point it in, you have an amazing amount of clarity. It's like putting a camera on a tripod. Exactly the same. That's what the stillness meditations are for. And you're able to penetrate your own mind. Yeah, because that's where all the troubles lie, in your mind. And you're able to stop thinking and you're able to penetrate. So if you haven't ever stopped thinking, for longer than 10 seconds or whatever, this is the first step. You have to stop thinking, right? And I've heard people talk about meditation and stuff like that, and that they've never actually stopped thinking, and so that's delusion. You can't be a meditator or do this sort of practice without stopping thought. You have to stop thought. Otherwise, there's something between you and God, or you and emptiness, or you and self, right? You and the Tao. There's something there. It's called a thought, right? It's blocking your vision. That's what it's doing. That's it. And so you're holding on, you're wrapped up in the thought. Holding on, there is tension involved in holding the thought. And so once we let go of the thoughts through releasing this tension, we're able to look back at ourselves then and see, just continue our exploration. And then you find, oneness, or God, or, the Tao, or Nibbana, all that stuff. But it's all in there. It's all in there. It's just being blocked. That's the problem. So we can use Buddho to help us alleviate that problem. Buddho. Buddho. And it's good because it is, there's something in words, so if you listen to angry music all the time, or it might not be angry music, it might be just really self-indulgent, sad music, or movies or art or novels, or just conversation. If you engage in conversation that is, just sort of indulgent in like emotional states and all that sort of stuff, you are looking in the wrong direction, and you're never going to find it. If you're looking in the wrong direction, the analogy, it's like trying to find your keys, right? And you could have sworn that you left them in this room, right? But they're in the door handle at the front of the house, right? So you could spend the next year of, all right. Thank you, Giorgio. Nice. So I'm just going to repeat that bit because that was kind of cool. So back to that question. The question is, what do I really want? So if you're going at odds with that question, well, with the answer to that question, right, which is release. The essence of everything you want is release, right? And then I was just talking about, like if your job is at odds with this idea or this practice of release, then even as you're doing that particular job, you can find release within it, but you have to be careful because our jobs can consume us. Yeah. So we just have to be careful with what we're doing. And we have to try to find a balance in there. All right. I remember trading and, basically doing the practice we just did, the Buddho practice, as I'm trading, and you can do it. You can do it. You can, but you have to, you have to train. Baby steps first. You have to train. So then if you're going to work, and let's say you're doing a shitty job, like, a job that's really sort of closing, then through your day, then you need to do things that remind yourself to bring you back to the Buddho, to bring you back from this more to this. And then you get back into the work environment and this happens, and then you need to find that, right? So it could just be things like setting a timer on your phone every hour, bing, and release your shoulders, right? Whatever it is. And what you'll find is that the more you do this through your workday, the more that you can find opening in that shitty situation, right? And so, like I've worked, like so many jobs doing this stuff, right? Different jobs, like from working in a call center. I remember, like 15 years ago working in a call center. And as I'm taking these calls, releasing around it, and, or there was another job I had, which was like pretty heavy labor, and so I was drilling and cutting concrete and all this sort of stuff. And I had a team of guys that were working for me as well, 2 teams ago. And so having to release around that, and this was in the early days of this stuff. So I wasn't that good at it back then, but I could still do it, and I got better and better and better at it. So you just gotta practice. There's no perfect situation. I could be sitting here on retreat and being stressed out. You know what I mean? And you see that all the time in the forests. Like you'll see monks, who are there meant to be, in this paradise or whatever, but, they're not. They're going through hell. So, yeah. Alrighty, guys. So, any questions or thoughts? What's this? Metta or Buddho? Your question disappeared. Okay, there it is. So, Metta or Buddho? Same direction? Yeah. So what we did, I don't know how long ago we did the Metta meditation. Oh no, we actually did. It was different. It was actually we haven't done the Metta mantra meditation for quite some time, I don't think. We were talking about doing the metta meditation without the mantra, I think last time. But remember, it is this cycle of understanding. The whole practice is this cycle of understanding. If you can understand that, you'll see that Buddho and Metta, check this out. Buddho, and on the flip side, Metta, right? So they're two sides of the same arm, right? So this is my teacher's, it's called a kata, or a mantra that he uses for everything, right? He uses this for everything. So the Buddho is, I like to think of it as this understanding, right? This understanding, i.e. compassion. So you understand why you suffer, and therefore I understand why you suffer. Sorry, I understand why I suffer, and then in knowing that, I now understand why you suffer. Okay? Yeah, and so the more you do it, the more that you can see this, and it's shocking. It's shocking that you realize that, holy crap, all the shitty things that people do is because they don't realize this, right? Including myself. I don't realize why I feel like shit. So we penetrate with the Buddho, and so it's this compassion, Buddho, same thing, yeah, in my understanding, yep. And then from that, sort of simultaneously comes the Metta. So the Metta is the result of the contemplation, but it's like an instant result. Boom, it happens. Boom, it happens. So even just softening your eyes is metta. That's metta, right? Because it's curative. The problem, the disease, dis-ease, is this. And so what's the opposite of this? So we're applying metta, right? So Buddho and Metta, two sides of the same coin. Metta is the expression of Buddho, right? But, like you can take any of those words and use it as, a means to still the mind, because it's the same thing. I mean, it's not the same thing, but two sides of the same coin. All right. Anyone else, guys? Any thoughts, questions? What do you got for me? You guys all good? Yeah, you can. Yes.
So I'm training in the morning and the evening. So the first and last thing I'm doing. And lately work has been quite busy.
Yep.
So it's always returning into my thought, the things that were going on. I try to release it.
Yep.
And sometimes it disappears, but it returns quite quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. But the thing is, you're seeing this, which is beautiful, right? And so the more you see it and the more you apply the antidote to it, the better you get at the skill. It's just a skill set. That's all it is. And so, it's the sort of thing that you look back, or you look at your progress. Let's say, we're having this conversation today, and then you'll look back in 6 months' time or 6 years' time and just go, wow, like, I've really come a long way, But, if you talk about it, like this week, you can't see the difference that you're making. You can't see the progress that you're making. But the more you do it, the better you get. It's just a skill, right? But you have to be applying those things, right? There has to be the penetration, like the knowing. There has to be a reason. Otherwise, like too many people meditate and all this stuff and they don't know why they're doing it, essentially, and then they do it and then they don't enjoy it. And so it's this dry, empty practice that they do, and they do it for their whole lives or whatever, and they just, nothing happens, right? So you have to get the juice. So as you release, you have to bloody enjoy it. It's imperative. And if you see, if you haven't seen Ajahn Jamnian, Lompo Jamnian, perfect example of perfection. Actually, he's got it right. Like he's in this constant state, or this constant process, I should say, of seeing reality and releasing and applying the remedy and enjoying it simultaneously. So he sees, he knows, he lets go, and he enjoys. He sees, he knows, he lets go, he enjoys. It's this cycle of four that it's continuous, bang, 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 but it's like you can't even see it. He can't, like it's just happening so good. It's so fast. It's like a, Joe Satriani on guitar or something. It's just, he's a virtuoso, He's got it to that level. Yeah. But look at his face, you can see it. You can see it. It's just like, yeah. So just keep training, man. So when you notice it, like do something maybe more, like make a more concerted, like stand up and walk across the room and melt your feet. Like if it's really getting you and you're getting smashed, then you have to kind of like break it. Like, okay, well, just softening my eyes is not working here. I'm gonna walk down the hall or whatever and melt my feet. Or do some standing. Perfect. Sometimes you have to get hard ass on yourself. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you need to be really gentle. But that's all part of the Buddho as well. I'm being really gentle with myself at the moment because I'm meeting my teacher in about 2 weeks' time, and I don't know what's coming. That's why this retreat has been pretty chilled out, because I know what's coming. Yeah.
So thank you, Annie.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Okay, what's this? Okay, feels dry at first. It's just an action. It keeps disappearing. Hang on. Okay, so Celine says, feels dry at first. It's just an action, watching the breath, etc. But at some point, the point is felt and known. Yeah, so what I want you to do, does everyone, hey, Katharina, beautiful, great. So the question was, it feels dry at first, it's just an action, watching the breath, etc. But at some point, the point is felt and known. I want you to, that point, I want it to be now, not in the future. So let go of this idea that heaven will happen when you die, because it won't. If you're fucked up until the point of death, unless you're like, it's miraculous that as you're dying in the most painful point in your life, you're somehow able to release and let go and find heaven, it's probably not going to happen. So I want it to be now. So I want you to start finding that now. And this comes down to sincerity, Celine. Big word, sincerity. I want you to be sincere. Now, what I mean by that is, and this is the trickiest, this is very difficult, but you have to practice it. As you release just a little bit, you have to enjoy it. You have to realize that it's better than not releasing at all. So even if you just, the analogy I love to use is like a pair of shoes that are too tight, or a belt that's too tight, right? If I can just undo my belt by one notch or undo my shoelaces just a little bit, I don't have to take my shoe off. I just undo my laces just a little bit. Oh, it's so much better, right? That's what I want you to do. So as you soften your eyes, or you whatever it is, whatever your practice is, get absorbed in the niceness of that just for that moment, if you can. Even if it's just for 1 second, just try to absorb in that. Oh, yeah. That's so essential. You've got to do that, okay, guys? So don't look for one day in the future. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and if you find it hard to do that, then look at videos from Jamnin or someone else who's got it. Doesn't mean you have to. Try to look in the right direction. Look at the sky. Look at the sky. The sky is the right direction, right? It sounds weird. But when you look at the sky, it's open and bright, especially if it's been, like today was the first sunny day for about a week or two here where I'm at. And so it's been really cloudy and overcast and raining for about 2 weeks. And then today, finally, the sun came out, right? Sun didn't come out. It's always been there, but the clouds were covering the sun, right? And so the sky is just like our mind. It's exactly the same, right? And so we've got all these thoughts which are blocking this bright awareness that we have, this bright knowing quality, the sun, this internal sun, right? But if we keep looking in the same direction, we keep looking, eventually, oh, there it is. But we've got to look in that direction. If we're looking down there, we're never going to see the sun, right? We have to look up there. But, so look at things that remind you of this. Yeah. Look at things that remind you of release, and it could be anything. It could be the word metta. It could be the word Buddho. It could be watching a video, from one of the great masters, or it could be a hymn. It could be a painting. It could be anything that allows you to come back and do this. No good getting lost in that thing, because a lot of people do that. Like they just get caught in beauty. And so they'll get caught in beautiful things. And that's better than being caught in ugly things or terrible things, certainly. But at the same time, you have to come back. It's like the gong. Last week we were talking about the gong, Yeah, so some music really gets me to that place. Yeah, so you have to be careful for that. Like, don't let it take you to that place, but then the music, you're just holding on to the music, right? So I want you to allow the music to get you to release, if that makes sense. It's tricky business. Yeah. Music's a tough one because it gets in, it goes so deep, and that's why I stopped playing bass back in the day, because, I used to play for 5-6 hours every day and all that sort of stuff. And for years and years and years, just practice. And I had to stop playing because, everything would be nice and quiet and the mind would shut up, and then this goddamn bass line would kick in, I only said, hang on, what does it say? So I use it. Oh, it's just set up that way. Yeah, nice. Good. Yeah, that's great. I do the same thing. I don't use it. I don't listen to music much these days, but yeah, I certainly use chants and sometimes hymns and things like that to because it's just nice, and as long as it leads you to that place. Again, not in the future. Now, 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 now. And soon that'll be aligning with the now. There won't even be that break. Now, it'll be now, now, now. This is where we want to be. Yeah, exactly. Now, now, now. With an exclamation mark. Release now. Do it. Don't talk about it. Do it. And if you listen to, again, Jumnian, yeah, that's now. Blow one. Release now. Penetrate now. It's all that. His name is Jumnian. So Jumn, Jumnien, I-E-N, Jumnian. I'll write it in the chat. Hang on. Can I do that? Maybe. Let's see. Jumnian. There it is. And put this term in front of it. I'd done Jumnian. And he's the most incredible person I've ever met. And I've met him a bunch of times. He's awesome. Yeah, he's great. And you'll see that he wears all of this. He wears it's just under 80 kilograms it was. 78 kilograms of stuff over his shoulder for like 40 years. And basically to make himself uncomfortable so that he had to release, And so, yeah, he was a hard ass. Standing up for 24 hours, not sleeping, not lying down for 9 years, all that sort of stuff, And yeah, that's what attracted me to Thai Buddhism, because they're just hardcore, because a lot of people talk all this stuff. They talk and they talk and they talk, but they don't practice, And even in the early days, I could see that was kind of bullshit. And so then I met Adam, and it was just all practice. Like it was just, we did practice. That's what we did. And then people that he looked up to, his teachers and role models, they were hard ass, and man, it was so appealing to me. That's why I loved it. That's why I fell in love, because, they worked for it. So it's very cool. So I want you to be those guys. All right. I want you to be those heroes. I want you to be your own hero. No victimhood. Yeah. Yeah. Remember my old slogan when I'd walk into a workshop? Hi, I'm Andy Mack, and I don't care about your problems. Yeah, I know. Like walking into like a health retreat and saying that, like a high-end spa. Oh my God. Yes, but it's true. I don't care about your problems. I care about you, but I don't care about your problems, because that's all bullshit. Damn, I think I missed part of the meditation. Oh, man, I wish those comments would stay up a little bit longer. I'm lacking sleep today, and when we started getting into the meditation, I slept for a bit. I remember hearing Buddho, but I don't exactly remember the context. That's awesome. What I was aware about was before that, when we saw that all of our bad feelings are contraction, and I was blown away by it. Yeah, okay. Well, luckily we recorded this, man. Because I'd like to go through it again with you, but I think the rest of the crew here would just be like, no, please end, Andy. It's already been an hour and a half. Stop it. But yeah, man. This stuff should blow you away. Let it in. Let it penetrate your soul. Let it penetrate your core, and it should shake you. If you haven't cried at the magnitude of this, what we're talking about, it's heavy. Eh? It's everything. Every sad moment of your life has been caused from no Buddho. Yeah, and everyone in your life, all your family, all your friends, all your colleagues, right? And so it's huge. It's huge. You shouldn't keep crying because it's not one of those things I want you to be sad about, but you need to know, I'm kind of afraid of letting it in my soul. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's why people are bad at mathematics in this regard, dude. They let it down to number 3. And then they just identify with that. And what I mean by identify with that, it's like, I'm an angry person, so I've got to change myself. Or I love being an angry person. I'm just a bastard. Fuck off. Or I'm a bitch. I love being a bitch. There's even that shirt around with some like famous supermodel or whatever. It's like identifying with this bad trait, right? And so they only take it to a certain point that maybe they don't want to get rid of it. That's part of them or whatever. But yeah, cool thing is, and this is the cool thing. So people, this idea of the matrix is based on all this stuff, right? Yeah. But in the matrix, they escape the matrix into a piece of shit existence. Like it's the worst existence ever. Like they're in underground and it's just shit. It's like, put me back in the matrix immediately. Thank you very much. I'll take that any day of the week. This is shit. All right. But this ain't like that. And this is the whole point. It's like, I want you to, as you start to release. So instead of looking at it like, oh man, I don't want to let go. That's some crazy shit. I don't want to let it into my soul. You don't look at it that way. Look at it this way. That feels nice. Yeah. Do it again. Oh, that feels nice. And so on and so forth. Yeah. And then you start applying, you start doing this stuff, you start applying this wisdom as you're doing that. Oh my God, what? This is just, the reason I feel like shit is just because of, no, you're kidding me. It's just because I've been doing this? No. Oh my God. Oh, that's better. What do you mean I've been, oh, that's better. And it's this process. And so it's not, don't look at it, don't set it up in such a dramatic way, because even though it is dramatic, don't set it up that way. Just do the practice and it unfolds very naturally. Remember, it's a process. All right, guys. All right. Have you had enough? Any more questions? Very big point. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. No problems. My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. All right. Any other thoughts, guys? Everyone all good? So again, if you are feeling good right now, I want you to connect the dots. Yep. So make sure that you understand how you got to feeling good, right? So, because we're stupid, talking about myself here, right? I have to connect the dots. How did I get here? Because right now I can't feel bad. Like it would be impossible for me to feel really bad or even bad at all right now. There's no way that I could feel jealous or anxious or depressed or sad or anything like that. Impossible right now, right? Because we've just done this work, right? It's just huge. So if you want to maintain this state, what do? Do the work. And then you slip, do the work. And then you slip, do the work. And so on and so forth. Full plate, yum, thank you, lots to digest. No, not lots to digest. It's one thing. And that's the most beautiful thing. It's just one thing, yummy. Just one thing. Let's find the opposite of that. Don't digest it. Don't have to digest it. Just find the opposite of that. Yeah. We have to break this idea that you have to analyze things mentally. You don't. You have to understand the cause of this, yes, but then that's it. Like that's your mental work done. You understand that? Okay, now get to work. Use the body. Use the body. If you release the body, the mind will come along. The mind comes along for the ride, and you get better at this skill. This is the training ground here, the body. And then you get better and better and better and better, and you can apply it to all the strata of your being, from the awareness itself all the way through to the physical, right? But you have to start in the body, because it's tangible. You can feel it. It feels good. Enjoy it. Alrighty, guys. Is that it? Are we done? You say the path is about release. Why does the path seem so trivial? What do you mean? Why does the path seem so trivial? You mean like this, the word, like because people throw that word around so trivially, in a trivial manner? Is that what you mean? I mean, it's really all about releasing. Yeah, I mean, look, I think one of the most intriguing things about this journey is that everyone that I thought who knew what was happening didn't, for the most part, right? And so it's crazy. It's so crazy because I just remember reading all these books and stuff and doing courses and all that. Watching documentaries and all that, and realizing that they were just getting caught on the intellectual idea of all this stuff. They couldn't release their thinking, right? And so if you just intellectualize all this, that's not it. You're still holding on, right? And so that's why, words like the path and release and all that, they just get thrown around every day by people who don't understand them at all. Like, they understand them intellectually, but they don't understand the process. And they certainly don't understand the goal, certainly, every yoga class you go to, they talk about all this stuff, after they've done their 8-week teacher training course or whatever. I don't mean to hang shit on anyone, but what you're talking about is, personally, I think in order for somebody to talk about something, they need to invest in it. They need to put in a lot of time to understand it before they start talking about it on like a teacher or something like that. Like, you have to understand what you're talking about in any field. So that's probably why it seems or sounds so trivial, man. It's because it's just been abused. The language has been abused, hey? Yeah, releasing the tension and feeling good about it. And that's it, man. That's it. So it just back to that. As soon as you release, enjoy it, feel good. Enjoy it, feel good. Enjoy it, feel good. Yep. That's the main thing. Yeah, because I can get so caught on stuff like what I just said, right? Like about the state of terminology or whatever. Like I could feel my mind getting caught on that. Yeah, like, oh, it's, you know, it's in a bad state of affairs. You know, people aren't using the words correctly. And release, right? It's tricky business. This mind. We've got to. That's why it's good to. It's good to have a teacher so it can kick you in the ass. But it's good to use the body to train ourselves. Otherwise, it's just too hard. All right. Thank you very much. That answers that. Nice. All righty, guys. I'm not going anywhere. And we're recording this. So if you need to go, you can definitely go. But if you have more questions, then I certainly don't have to be anywhere. This is me. This is me. I'm not moving. So if you've got any more questions, feel free, because I won't, we'll do one next week, but that'll be it for a while. So if you do have any questions, ask them now. Next class. Oh, is it Christmas Day, is it? That's on Sunday. Is it really?
Yes, it's the 25th.
Wow. So that's a Sunday. 25th is a Sunday, is it?
Yeah.
Ah, isn't that cool? Jesus would be happy. Jesus would be happy. The religion, it used to be known as the religion of light, from what I hear. I don't know. You know, you hear about history and you can't rely on it because, you know, intellectuals just write it, right? So, you know, is there much knowing quality in history? No, but, you know, you can find gems in there if you apply wisdom to it. But anyway, so the religion used to be called the religion of light. And so what do you think light is? Yeah, like you have when you feel enlightened, right? There's no more contraction, or there's a lessening of contraction. Yeah, there's a lessening of this burden. Yeah. And so yeah, let's catch up on Christmas Day and meditate. Because that's the best thing to do on Christmas. Definitely. All right, guys. Any other questions or thoughts? Great insight, most helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Flavio. Thanks, Yummy. Thanks to everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I really enjoy these, hey? It's yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, nice. My pleasure, guys. My pleasure. I'm just reading the messages. Gia, my pleasure, man. Fabrice, my pleasure. Pooty, lovely. Mo, yeah, see, that's nice. Beautiful, beautiful. So, yeah, so next week, there's going to be a few of you who will be with me, which is kind of cool. Not kind of cool, it's totally cool. So there'll be 7 people hanging out with me next week, which will be great. We'll be on a lake in Albania in a big kick-ass banging house. You should see the joint we're staying in. We rented this place. We're all paying shares in this mansion for 5 days. Lots of space to train and do some heavy work. And so that's what we're going to be doing next week for 5 days. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, crazy good. Meditation is at the same time. Yeah, it'd be the same time, man. Same time. Is that all right? Yeah, we'll keep it at the same time. Or should it be different because it's Christmas? I don't know. What do you think? Perfect? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do it at the same time. Alrighty, guys. I love you. Have a good week. So you practice this week. You practice, if you choose to accept practice, is to realize. I want you to realize. I want you to see yourself being an idiot. And then instead of reprimanding yourself like an idiot, I want you to do the opposite. I want you to do the opposite of this. I want you to find some softness. So soften your eyes, soften your chest, touch your chest, all the stuff that we've been over 1,000 times. Do any of that and find the opposite of the problem. That's your homework. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.